Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 2 of Brexit Britain. In the previous episode, we started on our path towards fascism in order to actually have a bit more of a role on the international stage and generally building up our industries and that kind of thing. Between episodes, it has occurred to me that I do have a garrison here in Gibraltar, but I don't have any others, and I know that Malta is a very important port, as is Cyprus, so we probably do want to actually send some troops over to those. So let's grab one of these guys. You'll do. And we'll send you over to Malta, and we'll add you to the... We'll give you a new army, and we'll call you Malta, because we may well start installing more troops in these locations later on. And then we want one more, which will be you. And we'll have you go to Cyprus. And we will call you Cyprus, oddly enough. And then I guess we probably want a new theatre, which is where you guys are going to live, as the Mediterranean. Okay, good stuff. The other thing that I was doing is I was having a bit more of a think about how we actually want to arrange our forces. And while we are currently researching bigger battleships, and what are you? Surrey class, you're a heavy cruiser, that's fine. I probably will actually go carriers rather than battleships. The reason for that is I want to have a very, very mobile force, so I can respond to any threats anywhere. And I would quite like to have Air Force capabilities anywhere, and to really get that kind of force projection you need carriers, and really the best way of getting the most powerful carriers in the naval doctrines is actually the base strike doctrine. So we do have two things done in here, and that is a bit of a waste, but we will be switching to base strike instead, because you get the bonuses like this with the sortie efficiency, naval targeting, even more sortie efficiency. Naval air agility, that's a big one, so your fighters are better when they're based at sea. So we'll probably be equipping our carriers with close air support and fighters rather than naval bombers, and we'll still continue to use battleships for the actual naval battles and the carriers for the force projection. And then we'll have destroyers for the anti-submarine role and heavy cruisers as our kind of medium-sized warship, because they're pretty quick and they've got really good AA, anti-air. Although we will have carrier fighter support, so we probably don't need that many cruisers, actually, thinking about it. It would be mostly destroyers, battleships, and carriers. So the destroyers will be our screen, so we will need quite a few of them. Right, so what else were we producing? We were just doing a bunch of civilian factories, that is fine. We are still very low on manpower. We are waiting to become fascist, and then we can start meddling with these things like going into a war economy and start increasing our conscription levels. So really, we just need to let time pass. Now, are you a oil area? You are not. I don't care. You are a big rubber place. And Ceylon is, in fact, United Kingdom. This is going against my plan of not doing too much abroad. Likewise down here in Singapore and Borneo. Singapore is so ridiculously important though. Although what I will very likely do is go towards Siam and grab this area, so we're going to have tons of rubber. We will be the major rubber exporter, which is excellent for our air force building capacity, and we will need a lot of aeroplanes. Speaking of aeroplanes, what plane tech do we have? The other thing I've also been doing is looking more into how air power works, so I understand a bit better how aircraft fight. So if you're defending your own territories, then you will just want regular fighters. So these guys. Courage Colonial Elite. I'll deal with you in just a minute. They're very good at defending your own territory. However, if you want to be attacking enemy held airspace over enemy occupied territory where their fighters will be reacting very quickly, these guys don't tend to have the range to really be fully efficient, so that's when you want the heavy fighters, is if you're trying to wrest air control from the enemy. And that's also when you send in the strategic bombers to start doing some industrial damage. So we'll probably eventually be going for the strategic bombers and the heavy fighters, but initially we want these guys, because you will notice that regular fighters can go on carriers, these guys can't, and because we're going to have carriers everywhere, we should actually have a pretty good air coverage. So we'll probably have some really powerful varieties of the carrier-based form of the fighters. At least that's the plan. Okay, so we have encouraged the colonial elite, which gives us the colonial elite research. Ooh, 5% faster research, nice. And we should also have a look at what else is available. That was over here. So we could improve our Commonwealth ties. Is in faction with Canada. Is in faction with South Africa. I'm not, am I? I thought I kicked you out. Or you? No, you haven't left yet because we're still democratic. But they will leave, so there is no real point in doing that because they won't be until we puppet them, and then they will be again. So we want to puppet Canada, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand pretty quickly. And honestly, we want to grant Indian independence as well, and then puppet them at some point. I think that makes. I don't actually know what benefit this gives. It must be something, but I don't know precisely what. If you know, let me know in the comments. Like, what is the advantage of actually giving them independence? Okay, so else is available. We don't have Mediterranean anymore. We could start working on our home defense, and then start working on Benelux intervention, which would allow us to puppet Belgium and the Netherlands. Actually, puppeting the Netherlands wouldn't be a bad shout, because then we would get Indonesia. Alright, let's start working on the home defense stuff. This is a really different British playthrough than you would expect. Right, so they are fighting. There is the Surrey class. Good. That's 1940, so we can't do that. We could start on submarines, but I don't think it's really important, so I'm not going to bother. We don't want light cruisers. They're kind of pointless for us. And you're too far ahead of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the base strike. Yes, I know. Oh, I got it immediately. Interesting. Okay, so the next option is carrier primacy, where the sortie efficiency, naval targeting, and carrier organization is increased. Submarines, we don't really use them, or destroyer sub stuff. We don't have any problems with convoys right now, so let's just continue to build up our carrier power. And do we want to wait until the 1940 model and then switch to those carrier planes, or should we start researching the Sea Gladiator immediately? We probably do kind of need to, and then start building them. Let's actually change you to purple as well. I'll give you all the same shade of purple. So we know that these are our Mediterranean forces. They'll just be smaller groups. Now, do we want to garrison India? Well, we already are. Can I not give this to India? No, I don't think so. Alright. Construction's still going on. Still churning out the civilian factories slowly but surely. I would say continue with that. We'll max out the civilian factories up there. Because once we have the more concentrated industry, then we can start building the shipyards and things that we will need. And we're keeping the civilian factory up here because they can repair anything that gets bombed down here. So I'm hoping by that stage to have a strong enough air force that that won't be such a problem. Right, France, what are you doing? Support the status quo. Alright. Germany, treaty with the USSR. You're going for Molotov-Ribbentrop already. Ribbentrop. Additional research. Italy, that's the other one I need to look at. Carriers. Ooh, interesting. South America. America is just doing South America. Okay. How's fascism doing? 28%. It's slow because we have the national spirit, which means that ideology drift is slower than it otherwise would be. We still have low manpower, and we're basically spending all of that manpower on our factories. Do I have unattached armies? Yes. Huh. You know what, actually? This is how we can reinforce Ceylon. So we'll send you three here, here, and you can be the Ceylon group. So this will be New Theatre, India, and what else did I need to reinforce? Singapore. You lot can be Singapore. Singapore, right? I hope. And yeah, we'll leave you in India. That's fine. I thought I renamed this to India. Oh no, I renamed that to India. No, you should actually be Ceylon. Ceylon. Okay. The other thing I need to do is Ceylon group. Your job is simple. You are garrisoning that. You are garrisoning that. Except I'm not right clicking. I should know better by now. Right click gives... No. That was right. Left click. Just didn't take for some reason. Right. You are garrisoning that. Marvellous. Okay, Cyprus. You are garrisoning that. Gibraltar. You are garrisoning that. And you are garrisoning that. There we go. Marvellous. Right, and I think that Cyprus probably needs some more troops. Possibly Malta too. Cavalry Brigade, you can go to Britain. You can go to Cyprus. Alright, off you go. Home defense. Which does what? Nothing right now. We can get that one fairly soon. Gain base national unity plus 10. We're going to have 90% national unity. That's insane. Sweet. Okay. I guess we start working on the motorized army. Just because it's the next obvious one to go for. And what are we actually producing right now? Infantry equipment, support equipment, tanks, motorized, and ships. Let's put you all in the home fleet for the time being. Is there anything else I want to be producing, like aircraft? Probably not. Not yet. No, I don't think so. That's fine. The other thing which apparently you can do is send equipment to the British Raj, and then they'll start training up some really ridiculously big armies. And in fact, that is something that we ought to do, because our own manpower throughout this playthrough is going to be pathetic. So we're going to be relying very heavily on puppet armies instead. So what I do think we need to do is start Lend-lease, and we'll start sending you infantry equipment. Amelia Earhart, so I can navigate to the globe. Excellent. How much are we producing? 36 a day. So we will send you 40 monthly. You tell me you're producing per day, but this is by month. That's irritating. I'll give you half, no, 70% of everything that I'm producing. Okay. Which means there will be Indian soldiers fighting for us. And the reason for that is because, like I said, manpower is going to be problematic for us. So I want to invest as much as we can into industry, and then we're basically going to be supporting our puppets, and they're going to be fighting and dying for us. And then British soldiers will actually be in very highly mechanized and armored units rather than just infantry, as they'll be far harder to kill. And we'll need to make sure that we have amazing hospitals too. Right, it is 37, so we can get concentrated industry, or we could go for machine tools. I think machine tools is what one that we'll want. Oh, and we got the new cruiser, didn't we? But we don't want to build them just yet, I don't think. Like I said, it was going to be mostly battleships. Okay, Japan goes towards Shaanxi and China. That is entirely expected. And at this point, China should start swallowing up some of the warlords. Yep, there they go. As they basically decide to unite against the Japanese threat. That is a scripted event. Yunnan, you going? Yep, there you go. Tibet? I don't think Tibet usually does. And Communist China usually doesn't either. Okay then. So maybe we need to start thinking about war with Siam. No, we can't because we are not fascist. The first war we will be doing will be against Ireland. So that we can make the whole of Great Britain great again. And yes, I know I have a lot of political power to spend, but that is because I'm waiting until I'm fascist and then I can go on a bit of a spending spree. It will be spent, don't worry. Motorized army. There we are. Now deploy motorized infantry divisions. Shadows. Aha! Aha! Okay, so we can get air defense now. Whoa, stop time. Which adds air experience and anti-air stuff in East Anglia, Sussex and Cornwall. Or Shadow, which gives us the wartime industry, which means that civilian to military factory conversion cost is cheaper, but it also allows us access to industrial effort, extra research time, and then eventually Royal Ordnance and all the other stuff over there. So this is an extremely powerful path for Britain to take, and that is what we are going to do. We have now got the King George V class. Marvellous. And at that point, I think we basically have to stop. Yes. We've got the doctrine going. It's not 1940 yet, so I think that we will need the Sea Gladiator so we can start throwing a couple of those on our ships. Unless there's anything else here to research. Not quite. Although we could do this. Yeah, we should start concentrating industry, really. Let's do that. So, Ireland, Siam. How much resource does Siam actually have? Alright, civil war for fascism. We'll come to that in a minute. Siam has a boatload of rubber. Well, we're really going to have an absolute stranglehold on rubber. I mean, we're already producing 848 down here. But still, could always do with more. The other alternative is war with Iran. We'll do a naval invasion. Because they have so much oil. And it's oil that's going to be handicapping us. So we could go after Iran and Iraq for a bit of a Middle Eastern empire growing over there. Alright, civil war for fascism. While the attempts for the fascist movement to revitalise the people's pride in their nation has seen some success, the resistance against these ideas remains high. The generals plotting to overthrow the current administration are disappointed in the lack of confidence the British populations themselves seem to have in British superiority. They remain certain that the people will eventually tire of Neville Chamberlain's lies and are divided on what course of action to take. Some call for a coup to be executed now before the United Kingdom's enemies takes advantage of its weakness. However, doing so, while public support is limited, would plunge the nation into civil war. Greatness can scarcely be achieved without spilling blood, but the blood of our countrymen, even traitors to the cause, is precious. No, we're going to unite the people first. I'm fairly sure that we can reach there eventually. I think we just need a 50% or 51% majority, and then it flips. It is a pretty damn slow process, though. What are you doing? Army innovations. Go with Britain. No, you're not. Ocean-going navy. Really? Naval air. No. Naval air innovations. Strategic bombing. And when things start kicking off, they're really going to start kicking off. That is a lot of blue lines. What do those blue lines represent? France wishes to join the Allies. No. We need no allies. Britain is drunk. We voted leave. Now leave us alone. Oh, those lines were convoy lines. Trade routes, I guess. Aha, that's the convoys travelling in those areas. Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. Now, I do wish that these were a little more spread out. Like, if you notice that German submarines are prowling these areas, wouldn't you just send the convoys around here or around here? So I do wish you had a bit more control over that. Like, historically, loads of British convoys came through the Arctic for that reason, because German carriers were in, sorry, submarines were in that area. Obviously not German carriers, they even had any. Let's get the next one, carrier organization, light cruiser organization. Oh, these could be light cruiser. If so, we might need to switch to light cruisers. Ah, interesting. So those are literally all submarine, but our bonuses are actually going to be to light cruisers rather than heavy. So maybe we should go for light cruiser and carrier and battleship rather than heavy cruiser and destroyer. Because then the light cruiser is basically, it is the jack of all trades. It does everything. We'll just need a lot more of them. Alright, fine. We'll do that. Clearly my research wasn't quite sufficient. We have a lot of convoys. Are we still producing convoys? No. Don't build me any more of those because we're already at the next level. Nationalist Spain 1. Republican Spain was our next. So Spain is fascist. The end of the Spanish Civil War. Industrial expansion. The shadow scheme, aha! And now we can go on to the industrial effort, which gives us a research bonus for industry. And then after that we can get the extra research slot, which would be very, very nice. Wow, world tension are really blowing up. Right, yes, because of Spain. That makes sense. I could spend some of the experience on shifting some of my stuff around. Do I have military hospitals yet? No. I definitely want military hospitals for the army units. Tank brigades, you are kind of pathetic. Yeah, we'll definitely need to do some jiggling around there. That's fine. %34%. Slowly ticking up. Now, I've never actually done civilian to military factory conversions, ever, in any of the games I've played. Are they actually worthwhile? I mean, will it be cheaper to build a civilian factory and then convert it to a military? Because I always assumed it's just cheaper to build military. Civil war for fascism. No. How's the construction jobs going? They're going. They are most assuredly going. Mobile warfare. And improved machine tools. Okay, cool. So I think that we need to research more of these things. No, these ones. Because we want military hospitals, absolutely, so we save some manpower. The other one was an industrial thing. That's not until 39, so we are already ahead there. We don't really need the oil, I don't think. We're a year off getting the radar. We could start on some of the Air Force doctrine. That's not a bad shout. I don't actually know which one I would want to go for just yet. Like, generally this is bombing, this is close air support, and this is fighters. But I don't know if any of these mesh well with carriers. I mean, these are bombing, yeah, like I said, bombing, naval mission. Not seeing any icons that look like they have anything to do with carriers. So I think what we'll probably go for is battlefield support, so we can use the carrier-mounted close air support to maximum effect. So yes, I think we will go for formation flying. Let us begin with that. Okay. Marvellous. Do I want to send more troops to hold these areas before that becomes an issue? Probably. Oh, you're all maximum level. Good stuff. Are you? You are not training, you should be. You are. You can stop. I'd totally forgotten I'd done this. You are. You are not. And you are not. Right then, so we need to send some of these guys out. What are those guys? Those are colonial garrisons, which is 6 infantry on their own. Regular infantry is slightly larger, but I'm going to need them anyway. So what I am thinking of doing here is I click on you, right? Is this how it works? There is a way of switching their template. I just can't remember how to do it. Do I have to remove you and then click on there? Click on there. Infantry division. Yes, that's how you do it. Right, so I need to remove them from the list. So let's grab you, 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 and you. And deselect. And then we go you, infantry. Okay, you, infantry. It's going to cost all of my manpower, I've just realised. No. Where's infantry? Why can't you become infantry? You. Ah, because you already were. That would be why. Duh. Alright then. So you're all now infantry. You can now all rejoin that, as can you. And then going by these names, I can then reattach you to Malta command. Can go to Malta. Gibraltar Defence Force is already in... Wait. I thought I was sorting through you. No, apparently I wasn't. Ceylon Defence Force can go to Ceylon, which is of course that one. And everything else is fine. Okay, good. Onwards. How's the tech coming? Tech is coming. How's the coup? 35%, because it's really slow. How's the rest of Europe doing? You are military factories. You are naval... Really? Okay. Found the PCDI. Bureau of Ships. Marines and Landing Craft. Reinforce the Soviet border. Japan are making some pretty hefty inroads, actually. I don't usually see Japan doing particularly well. We have low suppliers in Med. Probably because the level of the force here is not high enough, I would assume. So who's low on supply? You are... or not. You are. .9% attrition. Interesting, I could start general rearmament. No, I want the research slot. It's too valuable. Why are you losing attrition? Is it just because it's too small? How do I see how many troops I can keep here? I don't know how attrition works in this game yet. Haven't worked that one out yet. I'll come back to you. You're fine. In fact, you are the wrong type of unit. You should be infantry. You, likewise. You should be infantry. Ah, I can do it from there. I just realised as I was doing it. Okay, so why are you short? 57% supply. Is this a like supply coming in problem? Yes, I think it's just naval base is too low level. That can be fixed pretty easily. So, in constructions, we will build a level 5 naval base here. And eventually we'll also want to do some coastal forts, but I don't think it's worthwhile just yet. And where else was the supply issue? It was over here, because you are still stuck somewhere. Where are you? Didn't mean that. I want to know where you are. Ah, right click to see. Interesting. You are in Yemen. That'll get you home. And then from there, you can redeploy. Don't know why you couldn't work that one out on your own. Kind of bizarre. Anyway, that is it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you're enjoying this series, then please do hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, then please do consider subscribing as well. It really does help the channel out. So if you want to help out and let the do your part to get this channel growing a bit more, then that would be the easiest way of doing so. If you have any tips or advice for me, then please do let me know in the comment section below. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.